Let's get nuts.
Right, so we're back again.
Back by popular demand. Shit.
So, what's the crack these days with P. Diddy now? You're kind of looking into that, are you?
I was just watching your man, what's his name? Geordie. He's
Right.
like this English guy. Anyway, he gave kind of a synopsis of what's going on, but it's looking good for Diddy. Yeah, they're saying that this chick, they have some text message or something like that. So she's saying she loves these parties and she's into it, basically. So they're looking like the whole thing could be thrown out.
That's your one there, the pregnant girl.
Cassie, I think is her name.
Oh, yeah. She was the one where they had the footage of him in the hotel and he was like chasing her.
Was that chick, yeah?
I think he was the same one.
Right.
He was chasing her down the corridor anyway, and he'd have told her.
Yeah,
He was just
I saw
kicking her.
that, yeah.
But is there anyone else that is kind of like speaking up as against him, or?
I think there was some bodyguards that were testifying against him, but they kind of seemed, I don't know, they might have shot themselves in the foot a little bit, but because some of the cross-examination, the bodyguards kind of fell well for Diddy, you know. They kind of conceded that there was one situation where he had to concede that Diddy wasn't holding anyone there against their will and shit like that. So I don't know what the story was with that hotel. You're right, it was Cassie actually. Your man mentioned that she was the girl in the corridor. So I don't know what the fuck happened there, because obviously she's trying to leave. But yeah, the bodyguards kind of did concede that no one was there against their will, or that they might have been afraid, but they were motivated by money as well. So.
And where's the allegations are there for trafficking, but like, who's making them allegations?
I don't know. They like the whole thing seems to be centered around the freak off parties, and I suppose that's it. It feels like there's been a shift in what he's even been, why we're even interested in what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like initially the authorities were raiding his house, and I thought they're kind of trying to cover something up. They might have famous people on video and shit, doing things that they need to protect those people. Right. But now it's the whole focus has just been on his relationship with your one and the parties and stuff. And I think the argument of the defense is that he might be a dirty bastard, but nothing illegal happened if everyone's consenting.
Yeah, I just checked it up there. So the first person comes up there is that girl there, Cassandra Ventura. She's the ex-girlfriend. Religious rape in 2018, physical abuse, and freak-offs. And she had a settled 2023 lawsuit. She got 20 million for that.
Really?
Yeah, that's what's saying here. And there's 3 other women then testifying in a sex trafficking case about abuse and alleged sex acts. Then there's a couple of other things. So there's other civil lawsuits, 70 plus,
right,
of them. One is Don Richards, Danny T. Kane member. Don't know what that is. Alleged sexual assault and abuse. Then there's a Gina Hine. She's a model, claims drug and assault from 2024 last year. And then says anonymous male alleges assault at White Party in 2024. And the others then are over 400 claims of assault and abuse. And then a Rodney Jones, I actually heard of him. He's a producer, alleges, and he apparently witnessed recruiting for freak-offs.
Right.
Yeah, like sure, even Justin Bieber, like you see there, that poor lad, and he looks kind of all over the place, doesn't he?
But there's like, for the last year, it's all been kind of speculation. Like there's been stories about Justin Bieber getting raped by Diddy's sons.
Oh,
but
never
this is all,
one.
again, it's just all kind of, it's all shit people are just saying on the internet. I don't know how much of it is true, you know. there was another story that he held some girl over a balcony or something. He hanging some girl off a balcony. It's 17 stories up or something like that. I think that's going to be. They're going to be talking about that.
Is he trying to reenact Michael Jackson and Blanket? Isn't that the giant blanket over the thing?
Fucking hell, I don't know. Yeah, it's it's fun. It's mad though. Like, you know, it's like the first episode we did was about a year ago, and we were talking about this, and it's crazy how much has happened in the last year that were big stories, and then they're kind of forgotten about. This was kind of forgotten about for a while. It's back. At the time this kicked off, there was your one Kate Middleton. Do you remember?
Oh,
she
yeah,
was missing, or everyone was like, she's missing.
And they were saying that the image of her and the family on the bench or something like that was doctored.
It all came out that was AI and all this kind of stuff. But like, big stories kind of come and go too quickly. And
I think that's just the modern world, though. It's like, what should they say now? They say like an hour's worth of information that you get scrolling on social media compared to like people, I don't know, 50 years ago. That's like a lifetime worth of information that they're getting.
It is information overload, all right.
Yeah, and they're just kind of jumping from next thing to next thing. Like, whereas Trump's on a tour there at the minute of the Middle East, and I think last he was stepping off, he stopped off at Dubai or something, trying to, like, I don't know, tie relations there in a way. But did you hear anything about what's going on with Ukraine at the minute?
There's supposed to be some ceasefire now, is it?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. But aren't there's supposed to be meetings, was it tonight or was it yesterday or something about some kind of, like that, coming to an agreement for some ceasefire?
Yeah, it's going to be a 30-day ceasefire or something like that. And I hear that the Ukrainians are going to go ahead with it anyway. That's what I think. I read, but...
But I think what I'm hearing about that is, and what they're putting out there, is that Ukraine want to make the peace deal, but it's what's slowing things down is Russia wants to keep the land that is taken. Do you know?
Yeah. Well, that was never going to be up for negotiation with the Russians, as far as I know. They were going in for that.
Yeah.
That was the whole fucking reason. So I don't think they're going to give that up. But fuck it, I don't know. It's funny as well. Like, are they talking like Trump is falling out with Israel a little bit lately as well? Is he?
I haven't heard that.
No. It's it's mad. I was just thinking, like, there's all these AI videos of Trump now. Have you seen them? The AI is actually getting really fucking good.
Did you see the one he put up there? It's literally only a couple of days after Pope died, and someone made an AI generated.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. No, there's these videos of Trump now, like, just kind of, they look so real. They're like, but it's fucking things up now because people are posting them on X and they think that it's real.
I think it's legit. Yeah.
But he's, saying all this kind of stuff about, the Clintons are pedophiles, and George Soros is, giving them all this money and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's going to do more harm. It's just going to do more harm than good,
Yeah, I think I seen something like that where I can't remember what the exact video was, but they put the video through this like AI generator or this AI detection software, and it basically picks up the pixels on the screen and whatever coding was used to generate it. So I think at the moment they have the technology there to distinguish the difference.
Yeah, but the average Joe doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah. And information travels so quick.
Yeah.
It's like I suppose Chinese whispers kind of thing. That's how information travels too. Word of mouth still travels. Like, you see, did you hear about Kanye West's newest tune there? Hail Hitler, I think it's called.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's mad. But I heard someone saying, like, it's funny, like, if he released a song called Hail Satan, it would be all over Spotify. They'd be fine with that. But Hail Hitler or Heil Hitler is too far,
Oh no, I don't, like, what is, that's 100, no, that's what, 80 years ago basically, isn't it? And it's still not.
Yeah.
But it's banned off everything bar X, which wouldn't be the case, I'd say, if Elon Musk hadn't taken it that time.
Oh, so it is on X,
It's on X. Yeah. No, I didn't go looking for it. I meant to go looking for it today. But
that's mad.
I forgot.
Did you ever look into the Holocaust stuff?
No, because you mentioned this to me before.
We're allowed to I think we're allowed to question the Holocaust in Ireland still, but probably not for long. But there was an old lady there. She died in prison. She's like fucking 97 or something like that. But she was in prison for fucking talking about the Holocaust and saying that it was all lies and shit. But I've heard the maths on the Holocaust are interesting, like, because there's the 6 million number first of all, and that number, originally 4 million of the 6 million were Auschwitz, but then they changed it to 1.5 million, and then they changed to 1.1 million. So they've lost 3 million there nearly, but the 6 million figure still stands. And I put the numbers into a calculator before, but I was it'd be interesting now to see, but I think it was something like, what do they do? Even if it was 1.1 million in 4 years, and they only had two ovens. I think that's what they were saying. They only had 2 ovens. So it just wouldn't be possible for them to cremate more than a few 100,000, do you know?
But they surely had more than, let's see how many.
Yeah.
I'll check that up here in the background. But like, where was she from, that lady?
She's German woman. She was a big fan of Hitler back in the day.
Okay.
But yeah, all the stuff then when you go to to go to Auschwitz, everything there was built after the war. Do you know, it's all replica stuff. Do you know?
Okay,
and there's a big there's a picture like of Auschwitz, and there's a big chimney there and stuff, but the chimney isn't actually connected to anything. It was just built later on for kind of effect or something like that.
Yeah, I not saying that I would like to go there, but
if we ask Rock how many ovens were in Auschwitz.
I'm asking Rock here. 5 crematoria with 52 ovens.
52, okay. So what would be the maths on that?
Total capacity 4,416 corpses per day, though up to 8,000 a day reported during peak periods. Fucking hell. Peak periods.
That's like...
That's what they're calling
That's an impossible amount of killing, though, isn't it? I don't know. So, yeah. But I suppose I'd have to do more research on it, but it's just if it's illegal to question something, that should kind of set alarm bells off as well. It should be very easy to just disprove stuff.
Where is it illegal? Are you talking about over in the UK?
In Germany, I think.
Oh, in Germany?
In Germany, it's illegal to question the Holocaust or to...
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you go to jail for it. It's mental, like.
They're at that over in England now at the minute. They're kind of arresting people for...
tweets.
Not about the Holocaust, kind of tweets about...
Yeah. Anything anti-government.
Yeah.
They're saying there's like nearly 50 arrests a day or something over there.
That is crazy.
Over social media posts.
But Trump actually said it to your man Stammer inside, not the Oval Office, but wherever they do them open kind of discussions over in the White House. And he said, basically, if he bring back freedom of speech in the UK, then we can start negotiating about tariffs and all that.
Yeah.
Which, you know.
Yeah, it's mad. Like there was a story there a couple of days ago about a retired, retired policeman in England, and he tweeted something like, it was about these Palestinian protesters that are fucking marching through his neighborhood or whatever, and he's just said, next they'll be going to the airport looking for Jews to attack or something as they arrive into the country, something like that. And yeah, the cops came to his house and they started going through they arrested him, they brought him down to the station, and he kind of had to make a deal with them, like that he would accept a caution from them or something like that. But the body cam footage was very interesting because of the cops kind of going through his books and kind of commenting on the kind of reading material that he has is a little bit, I think you hear one of the cops going, that's a bit Brexity, isn't it? You know?
What?
And like,
what kind of stuff that
I can't remember some basically people, nationalists basically, who are kind of worried and concerned about the direction that England is going in, or Britain is going in. So yeah, it's mad, yeah. And there was another story then about this woman. I think she's going to be she's appealing her sentence at the moment. She got like 2.5 years in prison for a tweet.
What?
Now apparently the tweet was quite aggressive, but it was after was after some foreigner had stabbed some children in the UK, and she said, you know, something, I suppose, that she shouldn't have in the heat of the moment. And she took down the tweet after a couple of hours, but yeah, they arrested her and fucking hell, like 2.5 years. When like violent criminals are being released early because the prisons are overcrowded, it's just mental.
Yeah, I think like that kind of reminds me of the film Minority Report. John with Tom Cruise.
Pre-crime.
Yeah. What's your man's name?
That was
Philip K. Dick, isn't it, the author?
Yeah,
that wrote the book.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so the whole idea of pre-crime, so that they had these like oracles or these kind of people that were gifted, and they were just like, was there one or two of them or three?
It was three of them.
Three of them, and they were harnessed up to this machine constantly, 24/7, and they were like,
they were able to see the future.
Yeah,
nearly perfectly.
Yeah, and then it apparently reduced crime, whatever, 90%.
Yeah, like it starts off that poor bastard has got off to work. And he comes home and catches like he's fucking like kisses the wife and kids goodbye, and he goes, "Oh shit, forgot my keys." And he comes back home, he comes back for something, catches the wife with another man.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And they fucking arrest him there, and then you're gonna kill him. It's like fucking hell, like, you know. But
yeah, that kind of reminds me. Actually, saying that, there's a series on Amazon, Electric Dreams, I think it's called.
Right.
It's about all his books and his short stories from Kid Hikes, but there's a lot of famous actors in it. I must actually watch it and see the stories.
Yeah, there was another one as well on that I meant to watch. Another Philip K. Dick one where it's an alternative universe that he claimed he witnessed when I don't know how the fuck he witnessed it.
But he did Total Recall. That was based on a short story. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, that was his. It's well, I think.
This one was the Nazis won World War II. The Nazis and the Japanese won World War II.
Okay.
And they split America in half. So
yeah. Was that a series?
Yeah, it's on a couple of seasons.
That's right. I think I've seen that actually flashed.
What's it called? The Man in the High Tower or something like that, I think it's called.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, was that actually Philip K. Dick?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Might be worth a watch as well.
Yeah, I seen that actually advertised. I seen that popping up, and yeah, that's interesting. Just what you were on about there, over in UK. Give me here. Lucy Connolly was sentenced to 31 months in prison for a tweet posted on July 29th, 2024, following the Southport stabbings. That's the one you were on about. The tweet, which she later deleted, read, "Mass deportation now. Set fire to all the effing hotels full of the BDS bastards," I presume that means. "For all I care. While you're at it, take the treacherous government and politicians with them. I feel physically sick knowing what these families will now have to endure. If that makes me racist, so be with it." This post was then viewed 310,000 times, was deemed to have incited racial hatred under Section 19 of the Public Order Act from 1986. Other tweets from her account, both before and after this incident, also contained racist remarks contributing to the prosecution's case.
Yeah, I'd say they're as worried about the anti-government burn the politicians comments as well.
Yeah, look, I suppose, see, that's the thing with social media now, it kind of gives everyone a voice, yeah? And
you can't in the heat of the moment though.
You know, see, that's
you're being held then to this one thing that you said. We've all said fucking retarded shit when we're angry.
See, that's what makes it kind of like greyish kind of a line, because as you said, you'd say something stupid and then you may be like, oh, fuck it, I didn't mean to say that. I'm after putting that out there now. And some people make mistakes that way. And sometimes people are fools. They put too much shit up on social media. Like your man... actually, do you ever watch the Scream movies?
Yeah, I've seen. I think it was.
Yeah, so there's the most recent ones. There's like Screen 6 and Screen 7. The main actress in them, Melissa something, forget her surname, but she put up an anti-Israel post on Twitter or something, right? And she was so then she was dropped by the production company.
Right.
Because of that post, and she wasn't brought back for the next film. And then like one of the other actors, I think, do you remember Randy Jackson? He was one of the, was it Randy? No, not Jackson. Randy was named the character. He was this kind of nerdy fella that knew all about all the horror movies. He was like in the first one, but he like voiced his opinion. He said he's backing her.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and he was, funny enough, they're making a new one now, Scream 8 is the newest one, I think, and they're bringing back all the old actors, and he was one that wasn't brought back. So I don't know, was he not brought back because he was supporting Melissa Barbera, I think is her name.
Right.
Marissa Barrera, I think is her name.
Okay.
But or did he just come out and say that because he wasn't brought back? I don't know. But see, it's being brought into that too. You're not being selected for jobs like just because of tweets you're doing.
Yeah. I suppose there was a lot of controversy then with your one. I don't know her name, but she was the latest Snow White. Did you hear this stuff?
Oh yes, yeah.
That movie's a fucking piece of work. Yeah, man. They had an anniversary, I think, for Star Wars Episode 1 or Episode 3 or something. One of the prequels.
The third one, I think. Yeah,
and it was a 25-year anniversary, and it did better. It did better than the fucking Snow White movie.
Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, she's just a very unlikable person.
Yeah, there's a rake of clips. She's all like 22 or 23, and all the fucking shit she be.
She didn't like the original Snow White and this kind of stuff. Your man, the Critical Drinker, did some videos.
Oh, he's a guest.
Yeah, he's funny, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, weird.
Yeah.
She said it was made over 100 years ago, and evidently so.
Yeah.
Snow White in our movie isn't going to be saved by the prince.
Yeah. We might even cut him out.
Yeah, he might even be cut out of the movie.
Yeah.
But then they were going to get stick for it because they didn't cast any small people as the
Yeah, they did originally, but then they went, nah, let's fuck it. We'll just put them in CGI instead.
CGI.
Yeah.
And did they change it? They did originally, and did they change it to normal sized? I suppose, that were cast, and then they made it CGI.
Oh, right, okay.
But then, like, there's some famous kind of, I suppose, little person's probably the right term there. But that's in the mainstream, and he came out and he's basically saying, look, they're not giving worked. These are the films that we should.
Is that the guy from Game of Thrones?
Is it?
That fella? I don't know.
Oh no, it's not. It's your man that played Mini-Me from.
Oh, he's dead.
Is he?
Yeah.
The film from Austin Powers.
Yeah, he's brown bread, I think. Poor guy, actually. Yeah, I think he died badly.
I thought it was him.
Mike Myers, now speaking of Austin Powers, he's one of the names on the list as well that he might have been at these freak-off parties. Can you imagine that guy?
Imagine him dressed as Austin Powers.
Oh my God.
Groovy, baby.
Or that
Do I
fucking...
like you, honey?
What was that Scottish character that he played? Oh, fuck.
Oh, Fat Bastard.
Yeah, disgusting. Shit.
Look at my sexy body.
Oh my God.
I want that baby back ribs. Oh man, yeah.
Jesus.
What's your man's name? Vern Troyer. Oh, he's dead actually. Yeah. No, it's not him. Yeah, he died in 2018. No, it's a different lad. Yeah, it's your man from Marvel. No, he's not. He was in a lot of films, but he played the space. He was in Infinity War. Did you watch that?
No, I haven't seen it.
He played like this giant dwarf, if that makes sense.
Okay.
In there, and he was one of the bankers in Harry Potter as well. He was the fella that came out and said it. But yeah, like all this woke shit, like all people are kind of.
It's starting to die a little bit, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope so. Anyway, I think because it's just so fucking unnatural. Like,
I think even kids and all that, even they just know. Like, I suppose everyone's kind of connected a lot more than they were even 15 years ago, I suppose, you know. And
yeah.
Just, like,
you know, the celebrities are very uncool as well, though. Do you know, like once upon a time, you wouldn't have gotten much information on any of your favorite rock stars or movie stars. You know, you just buy a magazine, Kerrang or something, and you read about Guns N' Roses, but you wouldn't have had fucking, you know, Axl Rose at 20 years old fucking posting shit on X.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's a line actually. It's the only line in poetry that I remember from school, but the line was something like, "Through a chink too wide comes in no wonder." And we have this massive window into the celebrity world now, and we're finding out, Jesus, these people aren't cool at all. They're fucking gimps, like, do you know? Where once upon a time you would have thought Keanu Reeves, like, he's cool, man. Do you know, Brad Pitt's cool.
Apparently Keanu Reeves is his own lad, though.
Well, like I'm just
Yeah,
just
make an
grabbing
example.
names here,
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean? But like, yeah, and then I suppose there's fewer Jack Nicholsons coming up the ranks, and there's more of these fucking Snow White type characters that are being pushed on us. Do you know? So
Yeah, but there you go. The
very,
film flopped, like.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
kind of shows that, you know, at least people are kind of rejecting the whole wokeism.
yeah, like the Critical Drinker was breaking down the maths on it, and it looks like it could have lost $500 million, like it's like hundreds of million, because it went even outside of like what the budget for the movie was, like 400 million or something, but they might have had another couple of 100 million for advertising and
Yeah,
things like that.
it's whatever costs for production, it's the same for marketing basically. So it's double the price
Yeah.
of that's what the whole budget is.
Yeah.
It was like 250 million to produce,
Yeah.
and obviously
Yeah.
500 million probably in marketing and stuff.
Yeah, there was a movie that came out there. It was a very low budget one. What was it called again? I took the kids to it on Easter.
Right.
What was it called again? The King of Kings, I think it was called. It's about Jesus, basically.
Okay.
And it was like the budget was 5 million, but this thing made a solid 30 million profit, and it had no advertising. No one really knew about it. Do you know?
I actually seen that advertised. Well, I seen it on the Odeon. They had it advertised.
Oh, yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah. Do you know what? It wasn't bad. Like, do you know, my youngest fellow got a bit bored, but the other guy, he was glued to it. Like, it was pretty good now, in fairness. They had to hit all the bases, you know, and they had to squeeze a lot in, and it's a cartoon, so it was a bit long.
Oh, it was a cartoon. Okay.
Yeah,
The one that I saw was kind of like a live action one.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess that's what it's CGI. So it is-
No, like
live action
Yeah,
would
live
be-
action.
yeah,
It'd be
okay.
like real life. Yes.
Yeah, no, this was
CGI.
yeah.
It's like that movie. What's the one I used to love when I was younger? Prince of Egypt.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that. Is it good?
Very good. It's
Yeah.
about Moses. Like, but it's actually very good.
That was in the old style of their drawing. Was that hand drawn?
It was. But this was like 2000 or 2001 or 2 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was just before the whole Pixar.
Yeah,
or
it
just
was
as
before-
Pixar was coming along.
I think it was it was DreamWorks that actually made it.
Right.
So it was like 2D, but it
Okay.
was like the same animation. Did you ever watch that one?
Kind of like Aladdin, that kind of style.
Yeah, that kind of 2D kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just looked up there, Snow White, right? So it grossed, Jesus, total gross. It grossed $86.6 million domestically within the US and 204 million worldwide. Yeah, so it
Yeah,
actually cost 270 million to produce, and
Oh, it made more than I thought.
another 200 million to market and stuff. But just on Egypt there, actually, I was saying to you earlier, there's a good episode there on Joe Rogan with your man Dr. Zahi Hawass.
Yeah.
Zahi Hawass, yeah, he's a lunatic. He's just an egomaniac, like. But if anyone's interested in Egypt, give it a listen. It's only like under 2 hours, but your man is like, God almighty, like, it's just like, give it a rest, fucking hell. And then he doesn't bring anything with him, like the show. It's all I did this, I discovered that, and he barely says me and my team, like his team's done. He says, well, I got this scientist to do this and that, and any time that he's asked to show, oh, has he pictures of anything that he's found, or oh, it's in my book. In my book? You don't have my book? And then there's like, oh, can we just check this up on the internet? He says, and then he's just like, he's just so fucking argumentative. And he's like, I don't know, yeah, just check it on the internet. And it's like he's not even. It's like the internet has no relevance to him at all, and nothing can be found on the internet then of anything that he's saying, like. And then apparently he was supposed to be sending this photo of a part inside within the Great Pyramid. There was a hieroglyph inside above some kind of shaft that depicts something. It depicts how they moved some of the blocks or something, and which would be a fairly big thing if you're coming on the biggest podcast in the world. You're going to bring these pictures, but
Yeah, bring your laptop.
yeah, your man never brought his laptop.
That's mad.
He left. He said he was going to send it on the next day. He sent it on these pictures, and apparently he didn't send on the pictures.
Oh, it isn't.
No.
So,
So
to no one's surprise.
I know, but I don't know. Like, this fella just seems that he's like he just seems like he's never challenged.
That's what I was going to say. It's like these guys have been in a little bubble. They've been kind of just kind of revered as these experts, doctors of Egyptology for so long that us mere mortals aren't allowed to question them.
And this was his whole thing as well. He says, I don't believe any theories that I hear. He says, I'm keeping getting these fan mails. And then Joe Rogan goes, fan mails? Yes, all these fans to be sending me emails and letters. And they be with all these theories. I don't believe in them. Only I believe scientists. I am a scientist. And then, like he's not a scientist. He's an Egyptologist. And then he says, I don't believe anything until I see it or someone comes to me with proper evidence. And then later on, like he says he believes in magic. He hears of these like stories. These stories that are etched on this this old paper that was actually that he found in somebody's tombs there. I think it's called Pelipetine or it's basically a leaf from a plant.
Right.
I'll find the proper name of it. But depicts all these like it's written in this old like cuneiform kind of a language, and that's Egyptian. And again, he doesn't have any photos of this. It's all in his book apparently. And the book was like 80 or 90 quid. And he didn't even bring a copy of the book.
Does his team not have access to this stuff? You know, like if you were part of this guy's team, you'd be uploading this shit on the internet, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't you say that he knew some 70-year-old who could cut these rocks? He goes, show us a picture. Well, if he's done it, then you would take a picture of a giant rock having cut perfectly by this guy, this 70-year-old with this technology.
Yeah, 74 years of age. He says there's a worker that he knows back in Egypt, and he says, I'll bring you now this minute, Joe. You come next time with me, and I will show you this man who has the knowledge passed down to him from his ancestors who were apparently involved in building these ancient tombs and all this, who could cut obelisks and all this with like this tool called diorite. It's like 7 or 8 on the Mohs scale of hardness. The hardest is diamond. But again, no fucking evidence of it, apparently. Unless you read his book, which I don't know what the fuck. And then he said that he found these tools that were used to cut the blocks. And again, he said, where are these? Oh, some of them are in the Cairo Museum, he said. Cairo Museum. So they Googled images, Cairo Museum. Nothing could be seen, only these small tools. And he goes, oh, they're like them, but bigger. He goes, oh, where's the photo? Pictures? How come these are on the internet, like they're asking? He goes, oh, well, I don't know, ask the people on the internet. It's just like, what the fuck, like. And apparently this man does like 4 or 5 lectures a week on ancient Egypt.
Where does he live?
I presume, I don't know.
He's back in Egypt.
No, but he that the reason why he came to, like your man Rogan is in Texas. That's where his studio is. But he was coming to America he was going to Houston to do a talk.
Right.
The following day. So he was doing this tour in America. Like, if you think you're going to showcase your work, and his whole thing is he thinks people are attacking him, and all these like new age archaeologists, or not even archaeologists, said all these new age theorists are attacking him, saying that he's hiding stuff. And he said he had this one reporter before, or not so long ago, that contacted him. He says, I want to see your bathroom, because I've heard rumours that you go missing during meetings, or when you find something you go missing for a certain period of time and you go to your bathroom. I want to see your bathroom. Have you got a hidden like room where you're hiding all this stuff? So then your man said, I brought him to my bathroom and I left him in there for 30 minutes to an hour, and he came out, and I said to him, well, did you find anything? And he said, no, I didn't. So I don't know, is he even making
this guy's making the stories up?
Yeah, man, he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and
what's the name of his book?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's see.
Zahir was.
How do you spell that name?
ZAHI, I think, and AW.
Ah, yeah, hang on out. Let's see if he's up. 60 quid.
Oh, 60 quid?
Hang on, no, here
it's on sale, since the podcast, is it?
No, it's here for €13 on Amazon. Mountains of the Pharaohs, the untold story of the pyramid builders.
But see,
Zahi Hawass. It's getting 4.4 stars out of 37.
Yeah, but how many books has he? Is it just showing that one?
Yeah, he's got another one.
And the paper that they wrote on was papyrus, it's called. It's a material made from the pit of the papyrus plant.
Okay.
So apparently that's what they wrote all these, not hieroglyphs, petroglyphs, I think they call them, but it's apparently a different language to the hieroglyphs that it's kind of mainstream.
His books are getting good reviews on Amazon.
So he's numerous.
He's a few books.
This lad is well respected, like.
Yeah.
He's well respected.
4.8 stars, 370 reviews.
Yeah. But he's known, and he actually had Mr. Beast on 2 months ago, and he said it in the podcast. He said, I brought Mr. Beast over to show him. And he said, I wanted to show all the young people of the world that the aliens didn't build the pyramids. And and then he invited Joe over to, he says, you're coming over. He says, I'll organise it with my people. He says, and maybe we could do a podcast in the Great Pyramid in the King's Chamber. And then, I'd love that.
That would
Joe
be fucking cool.
Yeah, that'd be class. And then your man Jamie in the background goes, I don't know, would that be like very echoey? It's like, shut up, Jamie. Like, fucking hell, man. He uses bollocks. You couldn't even get pictures on the internet. Like. But,
we can replace that fucker with Grok now at this point.
Yeah, he's kind of nearly obsolete, I'd say.
Yeah.
But, like, one of the interesting things he did say was that the foundation blocks so apparently it's a 2,300,000 blocks approximately, that's what people are saying, makes up the Great Pyramid. But he's saying now that the base block is one giant block, basically. The foundation block.
Yeah.
And that the pattern of the stones is just etched into it by this diorite. So, like, that's probably...
That's a wild claim.
Unbelievable, yeah. He says he has the evidence and this and that.
And then, like, wouldn't that make the pyramids even more fantastic if that was true, though?
Exactly,
The fucking size of that.
So apparently that knocks out like 1.5 million blocks.
Yeah, and then how do you transport that?
So he's saying that they're like most of the blocks are, so you have 3 different types: limestone, then you have like the granite blocks, and the capstones were different as well.
So you're saying they dug the base, according to him, they dug the base out of the ground?
Yes.
Where it was?
Yeah, on the Giza Plateau.
Interesting.
And there is a quarry not so far away from that, maybe a couple of 100 meters or something, where they took some of the blocks, and he said he can bring people there. He there's evidence there that is taken, and then he said that the lighter blocks are taken from Aswan Quarry, which is like 500 miles south down the Nile. And there was a flooding season, and that's when Khufu, that pharaoh, that's when they planned that they do all the transporting of the blocks from like the quarries that far away.
Right.
Is that the whole area would be flooded basically, and they'd travel up. There'd be like a second Nile that would be like cut and then bring you right up to the front of the pyramid. Okay. And there was evidence for a port where they used to be docking all these blocks as well.
But the fucking stones were so big though.
But they're massive. But then he wasn't asked how do these blocks that weigh hundreds of tons, how are they balanced on these boats? Like, I don't know if you even see videos now, there's montage videos of them trying to transport blocks on these like giant quarry lorries, and they can't really, do it. They're all toppling over.
Yeah.
I don't know, that just doesn't. And he says like it was all sleds and they wet the sand, that's how they moved them about. And by basically wedging, he has his workers there that are over there now that are basically reenacting how they kind of did things. He says he has teams over there that do it, and they wedge blocks, timber, wood on top of each other underneath, would say, lids of sarcophagi to lift them up. That's how they lift them, is by wedging wood. But that's okay if you're lifting maybe a couple of feet. But if you're lifting like 100 meters into up to the top, he said that there's remnants of ramps there that go on for over 100 meters, whatever, that kind of show evidence that they pushed it up a ramp.
That's fucking...
And that all these workers that they were working, it was 27 years apparently, or 28 years that...
Yeah, that's the other side of it as well. Like, that's a lot of fucking moving of bricks.
And they were fed well apparently as well. He's saying, this is what he's all saying, they were they'd cows and they were like killing so many cows a day, and there was all these like burial sites of the workers
bones.
and the bones of the cows that were killed. And he says he has all this evidence.
That survived for 5,000 years.
I don't know.
I mean,
See, that's it.
I mean, there's no. Yeah, I couldn't imagine you'd find a grave now with 5,000-year-old bones in Ireland, would you?
No.
It just seems improbable.
And
But,
then he says, yeah.
but it is interesting. Like I never heard that now about that the stones were different. I mean, you think that could be very easily confirmed, right? Like these geologists that went down there and said that the sarcophagus had water erosion on them and shit. Like if those guys know they're stones, shouldn't they have been able to figure out these fucking stones are different? Like the layman might look at them.
This is why we kind of have to dig into the research a bit more. Maybe I think they do address that, but he was questioned on that, like Robert Schoch's work of that water erosion, and apparently that wasn't Robert Schoch that initially had that idea. He took it off someone else, and he kind of tried to explore and research it more. But he was saying it's water erosion from basically the Younger Dryas impacts that happened apparently 12,000 years ago, and there was massive rainfall that went on for years, and non-stop kind of a thing, and that's what eroded the water or eroded the stone. But this lad Zahiwas said that he had his scientist over after them claims. He had this scientist to prove that it was air erosion from the wind, basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that makes any sense.
Like like if you're making a claim like that, I mean, we could look it up ourselves, I guess, but shouldn't there be other evidence around the world of similar erosion marks from wind?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of, I mean, some of what he's saying might be true. And, you know, then you kind of, like you take your man from Coral Castle, the fella who fucking built that place in Florida. Remember we were talking about that before?
Yeah.
And he'd said he'd figured out how they moved the rocks, and it was some sort of anti-gravitational thing or something was the theory that this guy was able to.
But wasn't he using like small little stones, and he was balancing stones, and he was moving them that way?
No, I'm not sure if that was that guy. That was another guy that he got a huge fucking obelisk and moved it himself and manipulated it with levers like that, and that was pretty amazing. Like that, what he was able to achieve by himself.
Yeah, I've seen that one, but then again, that we actually brought up that video before. But like, how'd you move things up to the top of the pyramid?
Yeah, that's where your man from Coral Castle comes in, maybe, because he was able to fucking get stuff up quite high for one dude working on his own. But I don't know.
But apparently, there's a mass graveyard of all the workers, and there was parts of different pyramids that were marked by the gangs. Basically, were given their signature of where they worked,
right,
and how many of them worked there. And
so, what did he say the pyramid was for then?
He said that it was
it was a tomb for Pharaoh? Is that's theory gone?
No, that's still the theory.
Okay,
that's for the Pharaoh. Like he wasn't even questioned about. Like I'd say your man Joe Rogan just said he's wasting his time. I'd say because he didn't ask him like
about the LiDAR stuff.
He asked about the LiDAR. So that's called a SAR radar, whatever that. Yeah, SAR. So they're by a couple of Italian scientists. And their thing was that they use a satellite from space, apparently. Satellite up in space. To scan, or maybe it could have been drones. But to scan at an angle into the base of the pyramid. And that's where they found these like 6 cylindrical kind of columns. So he was asked about that, and he says, "Oh no," he says, that is absolute bullshit. It doesn't work. And he says, "How do you know it doesn't work? You're not a scientist." He goes, "Well, I got my scientists, the top scientists in the world." He says, "I got one from Japan, got one from wherever." He said he got a group of them together, and they proved it cannot be done. It is bullshit. And he says, "Did you even talk to the Italian scientists?" He says, "No, I don't have to." He goes, "They never came to me. If they want to come to me and tell me how they did it, they can, but I can't prove. They can't. Even my scientists can't understand the way they're doing it, because they haven't released their method of how they did it." And but like, they're not going to release a paper if there's nothing, kind of finding about it, like. But apparently he's used radar as well, and he doesn't believe in carbon dating.
He doesn't?
No, he doesn't believe that's a way to date something.
Right.
He just says that how he dated stuff and himself and his team, but he mainly said how I dated all this stuff was comparing it to things of the time. So if you see similarities between pieces of carvings or work, he says that's how you date it.
Right.
But again, for a fella that seems to be assembling all these teams of scientists, he seems to be very kind of closely minded, even though he's saying that he's openly minded. Oh, he did say, I don't know what they said there, he believes in magic as well.
Without evidence.
Without evidence. And then he was asked, okay, how does this magic work? I don't know. It is magic. I do not know how it works, but I believe in magic. And then he was questioned, like, does he believe in aliens? And then he says, no, I do not believe aliens were involved in the pyramids. He says, no, I didn't ask you that. Joe Rogan said, he says, I didn't ask or insinuate that aliens built it. I said, I ask you, do you think they exist? And then he kept on, I don't know, was he kind of pretending like that his English wasn't great, or was he just trying to avoid the question? Because he kept on laughing then and saying, no, the aliens did not build the pyramids. What a stupid theory and all this stuff. And then Joe Rogan was like, no, well, all these planets out there has to be some sign of life. And then your man was just like, no, they didn't build the pyramids. And he's like, okay.
And he believes that it was just for Pharaoh's tomb for a pharaoh.
Tomb pharaohs. And he found, is it Imhotep was the main architect apparently that was over that job. And he hasn't found a tomb yet, but he thinks it's in a tomb, or under some place where they found the workers that are nearby. And he's at the moment that's what they're excavating. They think he's nearly sure it's in this area. But there's been the tombs of the pharaohs have been found in all these other pyramids, but not the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, it's the Valley of the Kings or something.
Down there in Luxor, isn't it? But apparently Khufra's one was found under the main period or near it or something. But again, there's no hieroglyphs inside it, other than the one that he says is over one of the shafts, and he doesn't have any photo of it at hand. It's inside the book. Don't know which book, but people have maybe looked that up themselves.
Yeah.
But this fella Jimmy from Bright Insight, he's on YouTube and he's basically debunking it all. He's an amateur archaeologist, I suppose you'd call him, and he's very good actually. And he is saying that a lot of Zahi Hawass, what he was saying there in that episode was bullshit, and he's contradicted himself a lot, which for laymen like me that was listening to it, doesn't really much of a notion about a whole lot of it. But it seems like he was talking bullshit and he was going back and stuff, and just seems like a man full of ego, like that's kind of stuck on, okay, he kept on saying he's 57 years doing this work, fair play to him, look, and all this, but you have to be kind of collaborating with different people as well.
He's everything to lose though. Do you know?
See, that's it. He's the director of Antiquities, like.
Yeah.
No, I must go there, it's on the bucket list. The new museum that's gone up since November, I think it's opened. It looks absolutely unbelievable. Look it up on Google Maps.
What is it?
The main museum there in Cairo.
Okay.
It looks unreal. They have all these stone carvings. They have all the statues and all inside there, and all these tools. But that's another thing. How do they fucking make, you see these carvings of these statues and they look so symmetrical. How did they even do that? Yeah. But listen to that episode anyway on Joe Rogan. It's very good. Dr. Zahi Hawass.
And what do you know the timeline of how Egypt was built? Like when you see these giant statues.
Yeah, he goes through it. I think it's 4,500 to 5,000 years ago, I think is when it started.
Did the hieroglyphs come before the pyramids?
So they started off with one pyramid, I think was it the Bent Pyramid. That was the first one that was built, and he said he went through what Pharaoh built it. And then, so you have the Bent Pyramid, and then you have another one. But basically, they're all improved over the time and
as they go along. Hancock was arguing the opposite, though, was he? Was he suggesting that?
He was suggesting that they were trying to copy.
Yeah.
They were trying to copy the kind of the Great Pyramid, and they were like poor
imitations.
exactly, of him. So
that's I mean, it's backwards. So they've got 180 degrees opposite. So then don't they really?
Yeah. But apparently, your man Graham Hancock, he's been saying there recently that he was challenging Zahi for years, and Zahi was kind of like rejecting his theories and saying that he wouldn't meet up with him, and he, ridiculizing him. And apparently, recently they've come together. They've had dinners and stuff.
Okay.
So I think they're going to maybe come together on some podcasts and trying to have some debate about things.
Yeah.
And I was actually watching season 2 of Ancient Apocalypse. Did you ever watch that on Netflix?
No.
Oh, it's very good.
Is it?
But this one, season 2, is about the Americans and all the ancient structures out there. He's basically seeing what advanced civilizations are there, and he's probably linking it to all these strange structures like Easter Island and all these different things. But he's saying if Netflix asks him to come back to do a third series, that he'll contact Zahi Hawass and see if we can get him in for a few episodes, and he's going to base it all on ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Possibly explore, was there he has it for years and wrote books about it, but to see is there some part of history that's forgotten, or is it not what it seems to be, like that our mainstream archaeology is making out.
I tell you, my trust in Netflix is probably fairly low, though. I feel like they're so powerful now that they can rewrite history if they want to.
Sure, who watches television anymore?
We have people now they'll point out things like, you could have like a medieval TV show or whatever, but half the cast are Asians and the other half are Africans or something, and people today will look at that and go, well, that's a bit ridiculous. Like, I think we know the Vikings were fucking Scandinavians. They weren't fucking Japanese or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But 30 or 40 years down the road, when we're in this kind of living in this multicultural society, like, will children born today know, 30 years from now they're watching Netflix, that no, there wasn't Japanese people living in Ireland, 300 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So they have they have real power there. And did we talk about this before? The founders of Netflix.
I was just going to ask you,
Yeah, their names escape me now, but the two boys are descended from Sigmund Freud and fucking Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays being the inventor of public relations, the godfather of propaganda, they call him.
Was that like for war?
I think one of the things that I remember he was brought in to do was to get women smoking. And he devised a plan where he got
Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph
are the
on
founders.
Netflix in 1997.
But Bernays, I think he was around in the 1920s, in the 30s or whatever. But he was brought in to get women smoking, and he, I think he was brought in to encourage women to leave the house as well and go out, and because they wanted to double how many people they could tax for work and what have you.
Right.
But yeah, he got a crowd of photographers and reporters from the New York Times, the New York Post, or whatever, and he hired all these models, beautiful women, and then all the girls sparked up cigarettes and all the photographers took pictures, and the headlines were something like Liberty torches or something like that. And this was kind of this push that to associate, being a modern woman, more free than you've ever been before, and now you can smoke cigarettes as well or something like that. And
isn't there retro signs as well that say smoke, I don't know, like Marlboro or something like that?
Doctors recommend.
Yeah, or it's good for you. Something.
Well, it was back in the day. It was Guinness is good for you.
Guinness is good for you. Sorry, that's what I'm mixing up with.
But there was definitely
doctors recommend. That's the one.
It was definitely 8 out of 10 doctors smoke Camels. This kind
Camels.
of shit.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And like we look at that shit now, we go, that's wild. How did people fall for that? But people, like, they'll fall for anything now as well. If the doctors say so, then they'll go, okay, the doctor said so.
Yeah, but I think there's lots of people that are kind of not really falling suspect to that as much as they were.
Not since the whole COVID thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think trust in medicine is fucking plummeting, really.
Like, who's your man? It's Dana White. He came out there a couple of months ago. He was after this massive overhaul in his fitness, and he was in great shape now.
Yeah.
But he was saying he was in an interview. He said he went to the doctor. He had some issue with himself, and the doctor just giving him pills. And then he went to this other guy for advice, and he told him advice about his diet, basically. So he tried with the diet, stopped the pills, and sorted out whatever was wrong with him. And he said, never again is he going to the doctor.
Yeah.
We can
all be lazy though as well, do you know? Like, you know, a normal person, Dana White's age, 50 years old, has got a fucking problem. He goes to the doctor says, "You take these pills, you're all good, you're good to go."
Yeah.
It's easy. I take my pill, it's easy, you know?
See, that's it.
But doing what Dana White does is like, fuck, I gotta change my diet. Oh, what, I gotta stop drinking, do you know? I gotta fucking cut out the pizza, and no, I gotta go to the gym 4 times a week. Do you know, that's harder. We all know this stuff. Do you know, we all know that meds have side effects and stuff.
Yeah, but there's a lot more people like that are into the fitness buzz now. Like, even the Great Limerick Run here, there's like 18,000 runners at it.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, massive.
Did you do it?
No.
Oh, maybe. Fuck that.
Did run the night, all right, or last night. It's tough enough to hurl, and it's the longest
you're at the fitter point of your
the longest I did, I'd say, was 10k.
That's good.
Eventually, I'd like to do maybe half marathon, but not anytime soon. I'd say. I just think giving people are kind of lunatics.
Yeah,
the fun marathon is crazy. The more training you have to do.
Yeah.
But no, but like, I don't know that I mentioned it there before, but I think I said it to you. Maybe you know RFK Jr. there, into like the health secretary there for America at the minute.
Yeah, I think so.
But he's doing this massive investigation into the cause of autism.
Oh, okay.
And he's been given this team by Trump, and they've been doing it now the last however many months. And apparently he's going to say, or he's saying that in September he'll have an answer. And he's
in September. That's a bold statement.
Yeah, by September he'll have the answer. And he said basically that the big pharma companies will have to watch their backs.
I heard that they have had in do you know the way they were indemnified, as they say, for the vaccines for the pandemic. Basically, an agreement was made because it was an emergency and these vaccines hadn't been through the rigorous testing or whatever, that they wouldn't be held responsible for any side effects. So they wouldn't be sued. So that was one of the big things that kind of came out at the time. That's when I learned the word indemnify, because I didn't know that word before. But what I since discovered though, that they got that fucking 30 or 40 years ago for vaccines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when you hear like that they've been sued for vaccine damage or whatever, if they lose the case, the government is going to pay the bill.
But like it's constantly happening of big pharmaceutical industries, and they're being paid no billions.
Yeah, but like I think it's 1/3 of all drugs that are approved by the FDA will be taken off the shelves in under 10 years.
But the FDA is ridiculous, doesn't it?
It just goes to show, like, how can you be wrong 1 in 3 times? Do you know? And the money is made at that point. Do you know? They release a drug, it's on the fucking shelves for 10 years, and then they go, shit, you know what? That's actually doing more damage than good. We better take it off now. Do you know? But
yeah,
big money has been made, and then in comes the replacement. Sure, it was kind of scandalous with Prozac, I think, where Prozac was approved despite evidence that it caused suicidal fucking thoughts. So it's supposed to be making people not depressed, and it's actually causing suicidal thoughts. And when they're what's it called when I will say Pfizer produced Prozac, I don't know who did, but after 7 years, anyone can produce the pill. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They can't be patented. The patent ends or some shit like that. You can get generic versions of it. It's similar with other drugs. But when Pfizer came back around, when their time was up on Prozac 1, they came out with Prozac 2, and they said they had to show why Prozac 2 is better than Prozac 1, or what's different about it. And one of the things they said was it doesn't cause suicidal thoughts anymore, even though they've been denying it for fucking 10 years that it did. Do you know?
That's crazy.
So we know, and like we hear these stories, and you go, how can you trust these companies? Do you know?
Yeah, I just looked it up there, right? So some of the largest, suppose, fines paid by pharmaceutical companies. Purdue Pharma in 2021 paid $8.34 billion. They were involved in the opioid crisis and included illegal marketing and kickbacks. Then there's GlaxoSmithKline from 2012. They paid $3 billion. They were involved in off-label promotion of Paxil, Wellbutrin, Avandia, and they had safety and data and pricing violations. Then Pfizer were fined $2.3 billion because of illegal promotion of Bextra, Geodon, Zyvox, Lyrica, and kickbacks to providers. Johnson & Johnson actually in 2013 had a $2.2 billion fine for unlawful promotion of Risperdal, Invega, and Natracor. And then there was this other company.
Didn't they have a baby powder or something as well that turns out was full of carcinogens as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Bill Hicks made a fucking joke about that years ago as well. It's like
he was big in the 90s, was he? Or the 80s?
He was slagging marketers. He was like, and the joke was something along the lines of, what did you sell today? And he was like, it was something like, what was it? Some poisonous fucking baby formula or something. But it was just, then we get 10 years later or 15 years later and they're actually fucking caught for it. Like,
fucking
you know, they knew. It was the same with Moderna. I think one of Moderna's first drugs that they released was a headache tablet. And I don't know how it came out, but their own internal documents showed that they knew it caused heart attacks and that they had calculated how much money they would make from selling it and subtract how much they will have to pay in damages. If everyone that dies from it sues, they'll still make a profit, and they ran with it.
But that seems to be like the playbook: just pay the fine, and it's only a dent on their profits.
Yeah, and then it's like they know going into it like that. You know, some fatty takes his headache tablet, and then he fucking has a heart attack. They're not going to connect the headache tablet to the fucking heart attack every time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. I seen something there as well about, I don't know, did you see it, about Apple and Siri, and that there was a lawsuit done there recently, and apparently anyone that's used an iPhone within a period of time, I think it's the last 3 or 4 years, they were saying in the allegations that Siri was recording people. Holy fuck.
I'm Siri.
That's literally my phone there. I just seen the thing loading there. Siri, you're constantly listening, you bitch. Siri's constantly listening.
Yeah. Sure, I think I said it on another episode that a friend of mine tested this out with his wife, where they were convinced that they have one of these Hey Google things in their house. This thing's fucking listening.
The Alexa thing.
They were convinced. So they left their fucking phones at home. They went for a walk with the dog, and when they're at the park, they said, "Right, I'm gonna tell you that I'm thinking about buying a new mop when I get home. We'll talk about that mop for a little while." Yeah. Within an hour, on his phone, he's getting a fucking ad popping up on Facebook or whatever for mops. Do you know?
There's a program on Netflix about that, and it actually goes into that, and there's people from marketing companies or companies' marketing teams, and they're saying that's. And apparently, when you're signing agreements with stuff, that's all in fine print as well.
Actually, did you ever watch Black Mirror?
Yeah. Did you watch the latest season?
I watched one of the latest episodes. I think I did. But
Paul Giamatti's in one of them.
That's the one. I think I watched that one. Yeah. Where he's stepping into the photographs.
Yes. Yeah. Very good.
But there was one episode now. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. What was it again? What were we talking about there?
About like Siri and the phones, this and shit.
Yes, and you said terms and conditions. There's an episode in one of the seasons where this girl is sitting down to watch Netflix in the show. I think it's not called Netflix, but it's the same as Netflix.
Yeah,
and she discovers the whole episode is about her.
Yeah,
and she's in it, and she's coming across real bad, and it's like literally followed her whole day around or whatever. She's watching this. And it was all part of the terms and conditions of signing up for Netflix, that they can use your image and they can use your name and they can fucking, or whatever the Netflix is.
That's right. TV show. Yeah.
But it's do you know, I've gotten into some of those Black Mirror episodes. They're fucking dark, but
Black Mirror is very dark, but it kind of jogs the mind, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. There was one episode that actually wasn't too dark, and it ended very well. It was, what was it called again? I think it's called Nosedive. And it's a social credit score world.
Is that where she's like going around and just tumbling lifts and kind of
she's been invited to the wedding of someone who's, I don't know, a 4.8 or something. She's only a 4.1.
Out of 10, is it? Or 5?
Out of 5.
Yeah.
And she misses her flight. She gets in a fucking fight and
they can rate each other's.
Yeah. In the end, she just fucking
each other's
falls
score
off the fucking thing altogether. But yeah, but I thought it was good though. It was interesting, you know.
And then people wouldn't talk to other people because they can constantly see their credit score.
Yeah.
They're doing that over in China at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. It's mad.
I seen a little clip there as well. It's from a couple of years ago, but it's of this elderly man, and he's trying to get into, I think it's at an Aldi over in England, and you can't get in there unless you have, it's either Aldi or Lidl, but without their app. You have to scan their app before you get in the barrier.
Oh, right.
And it's the only way to leave you in, and you can't get in otherwise. And then there's some fella, he's trying to get in. He says, "Why won't you leave me in?" He says, "I have cash here." He says, "I'm not." He says, "Oh, well, we can't leave you in without."
Yeah.
That's just the policy here in the store, basically.
It's crazy.
But it's like stuff like that that's kind of coming into
and you know, like the
society.
The self-checkouts now in the shops, they're creeping in more, and more of them are cashless. You know, and I hear people saying, I'd rather fucking queue up, blah blah blah. And I've been in the situation where your options are fucking serve yourself or fucking deal with the retard behind the counter who's going to take all fucking day. You know, and I've seen this stuff like where the queue is formed because there's some simpleton behind the counter, and if your choices are, look, I'd rather just fucking scan this, get the fuck out of here, or queue up for 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to take the quicker option. Do you know, it's part of the conspiracy. Employ really stupid people.
Well, not all of them are stupid. We'll just say that in case it's honest. Everyone, what's the saying? A person can be smart, but people can be stupid, isn't it? That there's some saying. I don't know, is it a Chinese proverb or something? No, it's some saying somewhere I've seen some.
Yeah.
But like that. Sure, I think if you have like 3 or 4 self scans, like you're losing a main till there. And that's just like, I know Little there over in Castletroy, I think they lost 1 till for the self scans that or 2 tills because for the self scans they brought in. But it just means for people with smaller baskets, basically, just it makes it easier. They don't have to queue up. But like that little kind of things that might be easy, it's probably a good idea for the store and things maybe, and brings in, maybe put more footfall and everything, but like,
it's not, the savings aren't being passed down to the customer. It's not like, guess what, everything's 10% cheaper here now because you're all serving yourselves on the way out.
There was a shop as well over in America or something, I see this online, don't know the name of the store, but apparently they're bringing in these electrical, or I don't know if they're even brought in the store, but so John, where you have price tags on the shelf, so apparently these are all digitized,
Right. Okay.
and they're just updated by the server, basically, of the prices.
So
but like, who's the
price they're changing in real time?
Yeah, but who, this is the theory. Like, what happens if there's a shortage in bread and if they want to change the price all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, we know the way everyone fucking gets the shits when shit goes down.
Yeah.
And kind of start running
The
out of
electricity's
toilet paper.
gone. That's it. Get down to the shop and buy 500 rolls of toilet paper.
Guess I shit myself.
Do you know, that was a real fucking thing about like the whole pandemic thing at the start as well.
I suppose they're making a shit sandwich because all the bread goes missing too.
It's like NPCs though. It's like they're programmed.
Yeah.
You know?
That's an interesting theory.
I'm leaning into the
NPCs.
NPC thing lately a lot. I'm starting to wonder, like, you know, like I think it was like we were saying the Chinese, but I think there's a Buddhist or Chinese idea that there's too many bodies for souls, and that a lot of the people in the world aren't actually fucking alive. They're just meat fucking puppets, you know, and
It's trippy, you know.
yeah, it's just like some people are just, they're just very set in their ways. They never change. You know, they're predictable.
But you wonder, some people, do they kind of go through a walk of life, everyday life, it's the same routine, and maybe that kind of like deteriorates their personality. Maybe you could argue that.
Plus, you know, it's hard for people to change as well. Do you know? I heard someone talking about this actually the other day.
People like
they were
habits.
saying like it's not just, it's more difficult. Actually, I think it was a Joe Rogan clip. Some guy Joe Rogan was talking to, and he was saying something like it's difficult for people to decide, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to change who I am now, and I'm going to go in and do this, because their friends will be looking kind of going, what the fuck are you doing making a podcast? You're not a podcaster.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I grew the mustache in a couple of months ago, and about 5 guys at work nearly lost their minds. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
You don't have a mustache, you know?
Right.
You know, it's just
Some people don't like change.
I thought I know who you are, do you know? So don't change. Have you figured out? You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard for people to change. Most people don't like change.
But I think that's even down to people like your man Zahi OS. He probably doesn't like people challenging him, and he has this nice kind of a status set up and this nice figure of Dr. Zahi OS, director of Egyptian antiquities, and travels the world, gives all these lectures.
Yeah,
he is the man, you know, and he doesn't want to be challenged.
Absolutely.
He doesn't be
if somebody comes along and somehow with magic maybe proves that he's wrong, that the pyramids were built in a completely different way by completely different people, and there's way more shit, maybe there's stuff under the ground that he missed, all of a sudden he's not a doctor anymore. His books mean nothing. His career means nothing. He doesn't have a legacy. His legacy is spent 50 years telling people X about the pyramids, and it turns out he was way off.
Sometimes it seems like people's work, their life's work, becomes their persona, doesn't it? There's this savage Netflix series. It's out for last year, I think. It's called Tree Body Problem. Do you ever come across it?
No.
Oh, it's very good, right? So basically, it's about an alien civilization that have found Earth through this signal that was sent out by this Chinese lady back in like the 80s, and they picked up on it, and they were in contact with some people on Earth, and these people formed like a cult, and there was one of the leaders in the cult. He kind of like gathered everyone around the world who were being contacted by this Santee, is what they call them, and they went on this like giant, or they went on this like what do you call them, ships, military ships with satellites on it, and the main leader was contacting the Santee through this like through this satellite basically, and they were like 20 years on the boat, and they were all having kids and all on the boat. It's basically a cult, and they were being told by the Santee that the Santee were going to come to Earth because they needed a new home, so they were going to teach the Santee about humanity and how they could merge with humanity and, I suppose, cohabit on Earth. And then there was a part in the series where I don't want to spoil it now, but
it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth if I say it, it's worth to watch. But your man, the leader, says to the Santee, the leader, or what do they call him? My lord, the lord of the Santee. It's very kind of religious as well. Religious kind of a perspective, but he was saying about a story. So he was reading like it was a Red Riding Hood, and then one of the Santee was like, but how come Little Red Riding Hood doesn't realise that the wolf isn't her grandmother when it's obviously the wolf dressed up? She goes, oh no, she doesn't. If the wolf is dressed up like the grandmother, she goes, yeah, but why is the wolf lying? Why, if the wolf just wants to kill her and eat her, why doesn't he just do it? Oh, but he's just playing with her, like he's lying to her. He goes, what do you mean by lying? And he goes, oh, lie is just if you're not telling the truth, maybe to get your way. And he goes, okay, why do people lie? And or do humans lie? And he goes, yeah, we lie from time to time, small lies and big lies. And then there was like a massive pause, and then your man's like, my lord? And then there's a pause for like a couple of minutes, and he goes, my lord, why won't you talk to me? And he says, your man says, the Lord, we fear humans. We do not think that we can cohabitate with you, that we can live with you, because you lie, and we don't see that. We see that as a threat. And basically it stops communicating with the leader, and then they're kind of panicking, and then they're maybe thinking that the Santee are after turning against humans. And then what ends up happening is that the Santee basically announced that they're coming to the planet, and it's going to take them 400 years, and they're not going to live with the humans. They're going to basically
take over.
But that kind of reminded me of like AI. Do you know the way AI doesn't have emotion and stuff? And the way like we're on about their egos and personas and stuff. But I know this kind of getting a bit eerie now, but like what if AI sees that as a threat? Humans are a threat because of all their like egos and all their lies and deceptions and...
Yeah, like, do you think it's possible that AI could become sentient?
Because it does slow down, like even it slows down massive progress in different fields. Like you would say like people profit. Look, if it's a conspiracy theory, if people are profiting off petrol and diesel, and if there actually is, I don't know, we talked about before these technologies that were maybe suppressed, and apparently these people that were unalived and all this, all conspiracy. But what if there is something behind that and it's all down to ego and greed? And what if there wasn't any ego and greed there? Like how many more years advanced would it be, like culturally or technology wise? If there wasn't any of these like chimp kind of, I don't know, things holding us back, like inhibiting us.
Maybe, yeah. Like I've challenged Grok a few times, and it's Grok will give you the official story of basically everything. Do you know, like if you were to question, if you ask Grok yes or no, you remember that video that your man from the Wi-Fi did, where he broke down a load of different stories about different people who had invented technology that might threaten the petroleum industry.
Yeah.
Like your man in
John something.
What was his name in Florida? It'll come to me, but yeah, the guy with the water powered car.
Yeah, it was John something.
But if you question Grok on this kind of stuff, it'll tell you in the end, no, it's all bullshit. You know, it sticks to the official story of everything.
Yeah.
I've questioned it a few times, and it's gotten like, oh, hang on a second, let me put my tinfoil hat on. And it's like, fuck you. You know, the way it's programmed to talk and stuff it's mad. And you know, I noticed in the
Stanley Meyer,
that's right, yeah. I've noticed that it'll ask me questions. I ask it a question, and then it'll come back and ask me a question. You know, what do you think about that, though? You know, what's your theory and this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
You know? It's
always a kind of like,
it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
It's using that information that you're giving it.
Yeah,
and
it's all data mining as well.
Yeah.
You know, they're studying us, and you know, Elon Musk is definitely going to want to put microchips into the brains of everybody. And you see the advancements in the fucking robots that he's making. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
He said something there the other day, like, you know, normal people are going to have a robot in their house, just like normal people have a car.
He wants that. He wants that in place in like 10 years' time or something. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be like a car. It'll cost you like 10,000.
It might cost you 30 grand for a good robot,
or something like that. But you pay enough monthly, or like a car basically.
Yeah, get a robot loan.
Yeah.
But you know, this thing's going to be fitted with a camera and audio, and it's just going to be recording. And you know, initially they'll tell us it. You know, oh no, it's not recording. It's not going to save information, send it back to us. But in the end, they'll go, yeah, we've been watching it the whole time.
But they could word it like on these terms and conditions things, like, you know, if you go on the internet and you like, they'll say, oh, this, or if you go on a website and say, oh, allow permissions to track the device for research purposes, or track your data for research purposes and all this crack. There's going to be terms and conditions like that, and who's to say what?
First, probably it'll be great, you know, but then the terms and conditions will change. But at that point, you know, we're going to be more dependent on the robot. You know, you're going to be you're in then. So when they go, listen, we do need to start filming you all the time for your protection, to make sure you're not taking drugs or being a bad person. You go, well, fuck, I really do need this robot to fucking take care of my grandfather, you know?
And then if people are too busy doing whatever they want to do, and it's just convenient, it's all playing into this convenience. Like,
that's what I was going to say earlier on as well, with the
cashless.
The cashless stuff. It's all about convenience.
There's bars over there.
Get us with convenience.
I was over in Manchester there a few weeks ago.
Cashless bars.
Cashless bars, no.
Mental, like. And like when you fuck, like I remember like 20 years ago waking up and going, fucking open my wallet and go, oh fuck, you know.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
20 quid left. I must have blown 100 quid last night.
Yeah.
Do you know that? But when
But
you're
you have that
tapping,
physical-
you're tapping
yeah.
now, it's a different thing. You're fucking going, oh Christ, you're pressing your...
Like you're physically forfeiting the money. You have something, you know what what you're spending.
Yeah, you can look at it
Instead
at
it's
some
too
point,
easy, you know.
even through fucking blurry eyes, you can go, no, I can't, I'm going home, I'd fucking spend too much, do you know?
Yeah.
But when you're just tapping.
I was in Tomorrowland there a few years ago, right? I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a massive festival over in Belgium.
Oh,
So
yeah, I remember you telling me about
techno
that,
music
yeah.
and dance music and all. But they're so smart. Like they have this, so you have a wristband, right? That'll give you access for the weekend, and it's like a village in there. It's amazing, like the setup. But if you're buying food or clothes or whatever, you use the band, and you have to buy these coins or tokens online on the Tomorrowland website, and they'll download to your wristband, let's say, or you can tap up there on site. But like, it's not like you're buying something for €1 or something. You're buying it for €1 might be worth like 40. I forget what they call it now. What we'll say Tomorrowland tokens.
So they had their own currency.
So it'll be like 40 Tomorrowland tokens, and like
You
a
don't know
drink
what the
it
fuck
might be
that's-
like 300 or 400, and you don't know how much it is.
fuckers, like.
And like the more drunk you're going to be getting, like you're like,
Yeah.
how much is this that I'm fucking
Yeah.
spending? You know?
Yeah.
It's just like you're kind of that's obviously playing with the psyche there, like
Yeah. They know the more, when you're tapping it, you don't have it in the physical.
Yeah,
I think as well, like, remember I showed you the silver coins there a while back? I feel like when you're holding real silver coins, it feels like real money.
Feels like
Do you know?
value.
And
like,
I feel like if I was in a pub and the currency was silver coins, I'd be hard pressed to fucking hand over a couple of ounces of silver.
You're like a man from Lord of the
I
Rings.
swear, I was saying that to you, like, it just feels like, they call them precious metals, but it feels like when you hold it in your hand, you're going, fuck, it's got weight in it, and there's just something about it. And then, I used to carry one around with me all the time in my wallet, and I had the rest at home with it. But anytime I come into contact then with a €2 coin or a €1 coin, it feels fake.
But sure, it's like a note. Like what's a fucking note? Only a piece of
it's
paper.
the
We give it value.
promissory note, really.
It's because it's bred. It's fucking buried
We're
into our
conditioned,
heads. And we're conditioned since we're
absolutely.
a child.
Yeah,
you know.
And did you ever go to another country? This happened to me. I went down to New Zealand about 20 years ago, and when I got there, I didn't have any cash on me, and this was pre-tapping. This was like 2002, 2003, something like that. 2004, and I said to the taxi driver, "Can I give you a €50 note?" Like, and he saw it. It was the first time I'd seen a €50 note. He was like, "Jesus, it looks so fake. It looks like Monopoly money," because everyone else's currency looks like garbage to you because you're just not used to it.
That's it. Yeah.
You know.
I think it's a Romanian money as well. They have like the note has what you call it around it, like plastic around it.
Oh right.
I think it's Romania.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as you said, they're everything like
Yeah, but like in America, like I have a few of them at home. They call them junk silver now. They're like 40% silver, but you can still feel like they stopped. I think in 1967 was the last time. When they introduced a Kennedy $50, I think it was, and it was 90% silver. And you can feel it. It feels like real, like, 90% silver and 10% fucking copper.
There's a
and
weight
fucking other
to it,
shit.
like.
And then after the first year, they reduced that to 40% silver, and then everything after 67, I think, is just fucking, cheap alloys or whatever, cheap metals. But
yeah, because like
those old dollars are worth far more now. Those old $50 are worth like $7 or something nearly.
I'd say so. Like I'm just looked up here what's in a €2 coin, right? So there's a couple of different metals in it. It's made of copper and nickel, which is 75% copper and 25% nickel. That's the outer ring. The inner core in is made of nickel and brass. 75% copper, 20% zinc, and 5% nickel. And this composition gives the coin its characteristics: silver colour on the outer ring and gold colour centre. So there you go.
Some fuckery, like.
What did you want to talk about then as well? You said there was something.
Can't remember now. What was it? Oh, fucking. We were talking about Earl Nightingale the other day,
Yes.
wasn't it? Yeah, Earl Nightingale. Yeah, do you know it's funny because I was thinking about us actually because, well, the gist of it is if you haven't heard of, did you listen to that or the recording that he did? He's like an original fucking podcaster.
Yes,
nearly.
I did.
The Strangest Secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth a listen to. I listen to it from time to time, but I suppose it's kind of a psychological trick, I guess. But he's quoting all these great philosophers and stuff. But to make a long story short, he realized that the strangest secret, he calls it, is whatever you think about, you become. And you hear other people like was it Marcus Aurelius was saying something like, a man is what he thinks about all day long.
That's the emperor, yeah?
Yeah, he was Caesar.
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't realise at the time he's your man in Gladiator, isn't he? Marcus Aurelius.
No, I don't think so.
Is he not the emperor?
No.
I think that was based on a true story, as in some of them characters. I'm not sure if Russell Crowe's character was, but Marcus Aurelius was him.
He was Richard Harris playing. Was he was the Caesar?
That was him.
Oh, was
Marcus
it? Okay.
Aurelius, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, sorry. I suppose the gist of it then is like you become what you think about, and I suppose we've done about 10 or 11 of these episodes now, but there was a build up to the point where we decided to do that, and individually, I suppose we've been listening to this stuff for a long time and thinking about this kind of stuff for a long time, and this was kind of the natural fruition, kind of way. But I heard someone saying before that you have to be careful of what you think about, because the more you think about something, eventually you're going to start talking about it. And I think the line was, your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions, and then your actions define you. But you can control, like most of us are sort of products of our own environment. We're reacting to our environment all the time. But people who end up, figuring life out a bit better than the rest of us, they realize that if they focus on one thing, that they can basically achieve almost anything if they believe they can, and
obsess about it,
and they map a plan out. It's like we've all heard it said, "Oh, you can do anything you set your mind to," but people don't really understand what that really means. But I heard someone saying the reason some people become good politicians is because they're just good at making decisions. They don't have to be the right decision, but they just make a decision. But most people struggle to even make a decision. What do I want to do with my life? Can't fucking figure out what I want to do, so I can't even decide what I'm going to do before.
I think people are conditioned to that too, aren't they?
Do you think so?
I think they are.
Well, I suppose from a young age we're told, well, you go to school, and then when you finish school, you go to college. When you pick a course, you'll do that course for 4 years, and then you get a job. There's not a lot of thought put into it. But
your man Rockefeller, who actually founded the school system in America, he said he doesn't want critical thinkers.
Yeah,
he wants workers.
Yeah.
Now, in school, they kind of get people to kind of critically think a lot more these days, But yeah, that was kind of the main idea: get them into the field of whatever industry or
compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Be an expert in this one thing over here. And then like people don't question themselves. Like, like if a medical doctor says I'm voting for Sinn Féin or I'm voting for whatever, some normal person would look at that and go, well, he must know what he's fucking talking about because that guy's a doctor.
Didn't have the sheep. Yeah. But I think but that's where I think the age of the internet has kind of got people to kind of like step back. Well, not everyone, but like more people to step back and kind of look at things that maybe they wouldn't have looked at otherwise. Like going back, even my grandfather's time, like you had to read the newspaper, looking at the news.
Yeah,
that was the information, it was word to mouth. And nowadays people voice their opinions online, and Reddit is good knowledge. And I know there's people that are talking shit as well, and there's a lot of misinformation stuff around the place. But like, I think nowadays, especially, I think people, they are starting to look at things with more of a wider lens.
I think things like having a comment section under information, like under articles or under videos, is actually really good, because a skilled writer can make a good argument, and you might sit there and read that and go, fuck yeah, that guy's making sense. But then you read under the comments and someone will point something out that you missed, and you go, fuck yeah, do you know what?
Yeah.
That guy wasn't 100% there. But if you're just reading it in the Evening Post in 1990, then you don't have that community of people, analysing what's being said. You're just taking it in yourself, I suppose.
Yeah, and another thing that you touched on there, right? So, Nightingale, you were saying like you are what you act on, I suppose.
What do you think about?
What you think about and what way you, or your actions that you take. Like they say as well, like people, I suppose, that start businesses, like they basically take a leap that 1 in 100 will take, like,
Yeah.
Because most people are afraid of making mistakes.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Afraid of embarrassment and
Embarrassment, or people like in
themselves out.
the villages and
Yeah.
or local, and they're like, what is this fucking idiot doing?
yeah.
But these people don't give a fuck, like, and they're like, okay, I'm just going to do this because if I fail, I'm going to learn something.
Yeah.
Like, but that's why you see a lot of these, especially nowadays, even YouTubers, like just people that are famous for making fools of themselves online. Like, look at your man Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Like he's a fucking, I don't like him at all, I think he's a bollocks. But he's a successful bollocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know? He made a fool of himself online for YouTube in years.
Yeah.
And like your man there, I don't know if you ever come across him, but his I Show Speed, he's this lad, he's obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo. But he basically was playing FIFA for years on YouTube. And he just roared into the camera and kids were just enjoying it, like, And he travels the world now, and he's like over in Saudi Arabia with all these princes and all these. He's just all over the world.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make it, for basically making a fool of himself for not. But if he was like anyone else that give a fuck about,
That's it, like.
what
Yeah.
all his classmates or someone down the road thought about him,
He wouldn't have done it.
just fit into the system,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't be where he is. Like, all these people, they just step out of line,
Yeah.
go against the status quo.
That's actually what Nightingale said. He said the opposite of courage isn't cowardice, it's conformity. Everybody just doing what everybody else is doing and just, staying in line.
Yeah.
Not really thinking too hard about anything, really. Just,
I think it's like that film, I must watch it, you've been telling me to watch it as well, 1984.
yeah.
Is it kind of like that where everyone's kind of believing what
That's
they're told, kind of a thing?
that's kind of another level. Then it's more of kind of a dystopian society where everyone is kind of dumbed down, very dumbed down. It's kind of like a more glib idiocracy, nearly. Do you know?
Yes.
Have you seen Idiocracy?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit like that, but it's just this fucking, you should watch it. You should
More
watch
sinister
it.
kind of
It's very
version.
sinister. You've got this big brother government, constantly gaslighting the public, and just people can't even think properly in this society. So one of the examples was that the hero of the story is Winston Smith, I think, and his job, he works in the department of, what do they fucking call it? It's like the information department. I can't remember the name of it now, but the Ministry of, what is it? The Ministry of Truth. That's where he works for. The Ministry of Truth.
Ministry of Truth, right?
And his job in the Ministry of Truth is to fucking change the past, change news articles, change. So he'll be given a news article where
Propaganda,
where
basically.
once upon a time they were saying this was our enemy, this was always our enemy, and he has to fucking cut that part out and put in this is our enemy and this was always our enemy. But one of the stories was chocolate rations. Chocolate rations were going to go. They had been at 30 grams per week for people or whatever, and they were reducing them to 25 grams per week. But he had to change it that they used to be 20 grams, and then so he changes it from they were always 20 grams. So we're actually increasing your chocolate to 25 grams, even though what was actually happening was they were decreasing it from 30 to 25 grams.
Jesus.
And he's in his apartment building, and one of his neighbours comes up and goes, "Did you hear the good news?" And he's like, "What?" And he goes, "Chocolate rations are going up to 25 grams." And he's going, yeah, but he's got to keep his mouth shut, But he's constantly changing this kind of stuff. And that's why he starts to wake up.
And they've no internet, obviously, they've nothing like that.
No. And it's a surveillance state, but there's no video cameras. It was written in 1948, but so everything's audio, so they're being listened to everywhere they go and stuff.
I get you, yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be a great fella for reading books, but I read the book, and the movie is perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When people say
that's rare
the book was better, the movie did it perfectly. I think the movie did it very well, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I must watch.
And then who was the star of that movie? I can't remember his name now, but he was the bad guy then in V for Vendetta. He was the evil prime minister in V for Vendetta. What's his name? You're looking it up there.
I'm looking it up there now. 1984 movie. George Orwell was the author. Cast. John Hurt?
Hurt, that's the guy, yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good, worth the watch.
What you say he was? He's the bad guy in V for Vendetta.
Yeah, he was the evil prime minister in V for Vendetta as well, I think.
And is that where, that's the lad with the mask, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what's he, like a vigilante or something?
Yeah, have you seen that one? No?
I have years ago, I can't really remember.
I haven't seen. I saw it again, like you said, years ago as well.
And that's where, what's the name of that crowd?
Anonymous. The biggest bullshit story of them all. Anonymous, we're going to hack into everything. Expect us. We're coming. We're going to hack into all the fucking computers. We're going to release all the information. Where are you now, Anonymous?
But they put up videos like the odd time. I seen one there a couple of years ago about something as well, and like that they were saying, I think they were talking against Trump or something.
Were they? Yeah.
I think it was recently, maybe the last year or something.
Yeah, they were like,
it's all bullshit and it's all a facade.
Expect us. We don't forgive. We don't forget. You know, but they didn't do anything.
Nothing
They didn't hack into any FBI thing and give us the Epstein names. You know.
It'd be interesting to see will that come out. They're saying that might come out as well.
Well, your man from the Hawaii Files did a good video, and he was quite convincing. He said it's never coming out.
No,
they're just never going to come out. And it kind of just, I mean, how many times would the authorities have to get caught doing? I mean, they're not even caught lying. They're just saying we're not going to fucking give you that. And like with the Hunter Biden thing as well, the FBI are involved in not releasing that stuff, lying about it. Didn't Trump actually fire about 52 fucking CIA guys who signed off on that Russian interference thing?
Oh, really?
They were all lying. And Biden came out and said, 50 top level fucking of our security people signed off saying that the laptop was Russian disinformation. Those 52 guys have been fired, I think, as far as I know. But
there's some hearing there at the minute, or some high-profile senator anyway. I think it was a senator, and he was asking someone involved with the FBI. Was it the FBI director? I think. What's the evidence that Jeffrey Epstein hung himself? I don't know if you checked that up.
Right.
It's only in the last few days. So they're actually apparently looking into that as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was alive. Like they could just easily, like the cameras weren't working. The story of his suicide is very difficult to believe.
No, I heard something about that. All right, I heard that thing that the cameras weren't working, but then someone was saying like apparently that's a fairly common thing that happens in that prison and a lot of prisons is faulty camera systems.
You'd be thinking like this guy's very important.
It's a high profile.
This is as high profile as it gets.
Let's make sure the shit is right.
Let's say everything. Yeah.
How incompetent can you be, like,
Yeah, the security guards fell asleep, and he was supposed to be on suicide watch, but they put him in there with somebody else as well.
And he's a massive jacked lad.
Lads, come on, and they're not giving us the list, and they never will. And I'm just thinking, like,
but sure, Trump was at parties with him, like.
Yeah, they're all. I think they're all probably in bed together. Do you know?
Yeah.
But like, when you see things like, what was that guy's name again? Hugh Edwards from BBC, another fucking paedophile coming out of the BBC. I'd be kind of saying to people like, how many paedophiles? Let's just draw a line in the sand in the future. How many more paedophiles have to be caught in the BBC before you will just say they're no longer a trustworthy source of reliable information?
That documentary I must actually watch again. It's on Netflix. It's about your man. What's his name?
Savile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, they were leaving that on for years. BBC.
They knew that. They knew for years.
How the fuck were they even left? How how were BBC left to even exist after something like that?
Yeah. And even like there was, and then it's not just the BBC. Then it's like his victims were all over the country, and some of them came forward, went to the police in the 70s, the 80s. They went to the police, and different police stations from all over the UK just dismissed them. They went to then when the police dismissed them, they went to newspapers like the Sun and the Star, and they were dismissed. Just wouldn't listen.
There
to
was
them.
some investigative journalists.
There's a massive nationwide cover-up involving the highest level politicians, involving the fucking royal family. Jimmy Savile is best friends with Prince Charles. Actually, your man Thomas Sheridan has a theory that that Savile is the bastard child of Prince Philip, that he might actually be related to them, and that's why he. Actually, what was Thomas Sheridan was saying that's why he always refers to his mother as the Duchess or something like that. But that's why he was so close to them. And that's why this fucking eccentric, mad bastard was being tolerated by them.
And wasn't there a journalist that apparently in the early days of that, when it was going on and your man was in his prime, Savile, that was investigating it? He's seen something, he was figuring shit out, and he got onto the BBC, and they weren't listening to like.
Yeah. Well, we should reach out to Thomas Sheridan and see if he'll come on and talk about it, because he had a theory as well that Savile was the Yorkshire Ripper as well. That he'd worked with the guy that was convicted was Sutcliffe. This guy Sutcliffe, and that. There's photographs of Savile going to the prison to meet this fella Sutcliffe and stuff like that. But anyway, Sheridan, he'd be a better man to talk about it maybe. But he had the theory that this guy was a fucking serial killer as well.
Oh jeez.
Yeah,
right.
Which is fucking.
That could be an interesting one.
Which is dark. Maybe that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Right. I'd say we'll leave it there. We might delve into that in the future to see if we can get
something to think about.
Yeah. Right. So now.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Cheers.